So in 3 weeks, I hiked the Pacific Crest Trail. Pacific Crest Trail is 2,650 miles across the states of Washington, Oregon, and Washington, from the border of Mexico to the border of Canada. It'll take me about 4.5 months, if I make it. I'll be hiking the first 2.5 months solo, and then Lily will be joining me for the last 700 miles from Central Oregon to the Canadian border. I have been training for this by hiking home from school. So leaving my classroom, my 6th grade classroom, and then walking with my full pack. Got it on right now, here we go. Loaded up with about the heaviest weight that I'll be carrying on the trip. It's about 26 to 30 pounds today. I've got my computer today too, so adds a little bit to the weight. But I've been hiking between 6 and 11 miles home. And on a rare day, I've got a low tide, and I'll walk the beach down here, which is pretty darn nice. So even on most of the days, it also hasn't been daylight like this. It's been mostly dark because I started in early winter. So most of my miles have been in the dark, rain, hail, freezing temperatures, but wow. There's the Olympics back there, and here's tonight. Pretty darn cool. Some people might imagine the Pacific Crest Trail, which goes to the Sierra Mountains and to the Cascade Mountains. Some people might assume that you're in the mountains the whole time, but you're not. You start off in the deserts of Southern California. Campo, California is the nearest town to the start. You actually start right at the border wall. As you head north, you're mostly in high desert until you get to the Sonora Desert, which is just after San Jacinto Peak, which is just south of Palm Springs. And then when you get to the Sonora, you actually are in true desert for a while. Soon, though, you start coming out of that and you get to the Sierra. Now, the Sierra this year are very interesting because they have record snowfalls. And it's some of the reports are that it's the highest recorded. The highest is 1943. Who knows? It's going to be a lot of snow. And I'll be getting there pretty early. I'll be leaving the southern border on April 7th. And then sometime early May, I'll be heading into the Sierras, probably with my heavier shoes, with my crampons, ice axe, trekking poles, and snowshoes. We'll see about my final gear choice when I'm sitting there. But it's 3.5 to 4 weeks going through the Sierra Mountains before you start rolling into Northern California. Then you move into Oregon, and tends to be kind of a dry area, but you're up in the mountains for sure, cruising along ancient volcanoes until you hit Washington at the Bridge of the Gods. And then in Washington, you go past Mount Adams, where you can see Mount St. Helens in the distance. You go through Mount Rainier National Park for just a little bit, and then you continue to cruise on up. You pass right by Glacier Peak, not too far from Mount Baker, and then you work your way up to the Canadian border for the grand finale, which for me will be in August. A highlight for me is going to be right here. I'm going to be in outside of Bend. I'll meet my family and sisters, and that's when Lily, my daughter, and Lily will be 14. And we'll be taking off from there and heading up north ourselves. We'll meet up with our friend Logan at Stevens Pass. Logan's going to be with us for perhaps the hardest section of the PCT, Section K. And then when we get to Harts Pass near the border, scouts will be joining us for the final 30 miles to the border and then back.